Hello, my name is James. I'm the host of the Teamworks podcast. This podcast is about the gaming world and beyond. So if you're a big gamer like myself and you just love anything to do with gaming, then you come to the right place. Every week we try and get a new guest onto the show to listen to their story, why they became a gamer, what first console they ever played on, and so on. The aim is to get noticed and get some of the big names on the show as well. So if you feel like you want to have a chat with us and come on the show, feel free to do so. And yeah, that is what the podcast is all about. And I hope you enjoy it, guys. This is Teamworks Podcast. A team that works together stays together.
I feel that something is coming into my life. This feeling I can't deny, and I'm always wondering why. I close my eyes and see it is something that's coming I can't describe. It is always about the time. It is waiting to come inside of me. It's alright. I wanna feel it burning.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Teamworks. This is season 3 and we are on episode 10. Welcome Ty to the podcast. Thank you, mate, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry for all the glitches that have started, guys. For some reason, my PC, when it updates, it doesn't like my mic for some reason. So I do apologise for that. But hello, Phil. Welcome in.
Hello. Yeah, there've been no glitches. Everyone listening and viewing, no glitches whatsoever. It's all been fine.
No worries. So as we're talking about, the gaming world is just one of them big things that you got to talk about. And what's your point on it, Ty?
Yeah, from a talking perspective, it's gone beyond that hobby of just like, hey, let's talk about, the fun games that we have, right? I remember buying the Nintendo magazines, the Xbox ones, and it was just hey, let's just look at, the new games that's coming out. But now it's a little bit different. Now there's the industry part of it, right? Where, you can look at it in the same sense as music or television, where now you're looking at the directors' names, you're looking at who's publishing this, how is the business happening, even something as simple as where did microtransactions come from, how did that develop into what it is today, DLCs, MMOs, live service games, what's happening with the AAA industry in terms of how it's maybe becoming shorter. What is Sony's strategy going forward? How does Nintendo strategize in dealing with Xbox and PlayStation? Like, I remember when Nintendo switched to the Wii, and I was thinking to myself that I don't want this crap. I want a GameCube. I want a GameCube number 2. Like, why are you giving me this Wii? Back then, you're young, you're immature, and you don't look at the business side of things. And now, even though I think a GameCube 2 would have been an amazing console because the GameCube 1 was perfect in every way, shape, or form, the GameCube 2 going against the Xbox 360 and the PS3 would have completely failed. Like that's close enough to put them out of business. But at that time, you don't look at it that way because you look at it as from a gaming perspective, right? I'm just a consumer. But the industry has grown so large, and biggest entertainment sector right now, I think from a revenue point of view, that there is a discussion to be had about the business side of things. And that's why I think it's really interesting. And I was saying earlier that, you start off, playing the games, NES games, the Street Fighter games, the Sonic games, etc., etc. And then for me in particular, it was Mass Effect that really kind of changed the way I look at the medium, because now the story is just a lot more interactive. It's a lot more emotional. You're shedding tears for characters. You're falling in love with different kind of characters. You've been put into situations like the Genophage question, right? The Morning War. You learn about these rich stories and these rich characters. And once the dust settles, you're thinking back, like, that was such an amazing experience. I can't think of any other music or book that has given me the same level of connection. And that's when, gaming became something truly special. Maybe if I think you guys even have your own stories where maybe gaming became special towards you, right? But for me, yeah, it was Mass Effect, and obviously just the way the industry has grown. It's the most interactive, takes the best elements of all the other mediums, puts it into one. And I think you get something truly special.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I've grew up to play on all the PlayStations, because 1990 was my year where I started gaming, and it just shows you now that how much gaming has progressed since the early days. I mean, I remember, playing something like Ape Escape, and the movements and the controls of that was like it was horrible to use. Back then, it was like the best thing going, but you look back now and you think to yourself, "Did I really play that?" But no, there are games that you can treasure as well. Like the Crash Bandicoot. That's what brought PlayStation to lit, I think, because he was like their little mascot. But yeah, gaming is just brilliant, and it's got even better, and I think there's a long way to more to see. And yeah, what's your point, Phil? What's your point on it, mate?
Yeah, I mean, so saying how like it's come like on par, even surpassed other medium like TV and books and stuff. I do agree. Based on, although like I remember back in the day playing on the older stuff, like when I've come to replay it now, I've realized how much differently I saw it at that time. So how much of my imagination was actually going into these games at the time. So like, for example, Ape Escape, again, one of them games I've replayed on the PS5, and the quality is poor. The graphics are terrible, but it's such a wonderful game and such good memories. And then even like Final Fantasy VII, like playing that on the PlayStation 1 in comparison to the PS5 version, the PS4 version, I do apologize. PS4 version is now what I saw that as back then playing it on the PlayStation 1, and you just think, how did my mind create that? Like, from their creation, you've pictured that, and then somehow they've managed to bring it back. So then when they're doing these remakes, they're bringing back that nostalgia, but giving it a new, sense of life to what you picture it as now. And then I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And would you like to ask Ty anything?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite game series? I know you've mentioned Mass Effect is an interesting one, but do you have any like specific favorites?
Mass Effect 2, for sure. Mass Effect 2 is great. And I'll say Mass Effect 3. I think when you get towards the Mass Effect 3 is those questions like the Jennifer's question, right? Does this unit have a soul with Legion and Tali and that, and the quarrings? Those questions stay with you. The characters stay with you. The emotional impact, the music that accommodates those themes stays with you. But moving on from that one, I guess you could say The Witcher is a strong candidate. The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3. I would actually say I prefer The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3. 3 is a lot more casual focus. It's funny because I have friends who played 3 and they're like, oh, it's great. And I'm like, you play The Witcher 2. It's a lot better. It's a lot harder. It's hardcore. And, and they think like games are becoming more accommodating the casuals more and more. And I point to them like, no. Like, you guys are the casuals too, because The Witcher 3 is a very casual game in comparison to The Witcher 2, right? And yeah, so the Witcher franchise will be one of them as well. Any of the ones, actually, I guess there's some games here and there that I did really enjoy, that kind of stands out. BioShock is one of them. Amazing title. Let me see, what other ones? Golden Sun on the Game Boy. That was a great one as well. Xenoblade Chronicles, amazing title. I think that franchise blows me away. The Persona franchise, as well is dope. So yeah, there's a few in there, but you know that there's a current theme. Like if you're telling me a good story, and especially if you're letting me choose the direction of that story and the characters in that story, I'm more likely gonna love your title. Like that's just like, to me, that's like what gets me going.
Yeah.
And you guys?
Well, to be fair, I've really been into the Uncharted games and Life is Strange. The good thing about the Uncharted game, it's like there's a story there, but you just feel like you feel like you're there, and sometimes you feel like, do you know what? I wish I was him, going and doing all these treasure hunters and getting stopped by these weird people that think you're not getting to the treasure and all that. But Life is Strange is it's a lot different, and it actually points out things in real life, which I like about it. I don't know whether you've ever played Life is Strange series, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great storyline to it and everything.
I played for a little bit. I think I played the first one. It could have been the second one. And I love the interactiveness of it, moving around. It reminds me a lot of Detroit Become Human.
Yeah.
And the other games from those guys. So I'm like Life is Strange is a game I probably could have liked a lot more if I given it a chance. But I'm pretty sure I was playing something that's around that same time. And the story didn't grab me enough straight away for me to invest more time in it. Because right now I think the biggest problem in the industry is there's just too many games. There's just too many good games that you don't even have time to even you have this decision paralysis where it's like, oh, there's 10 games. Like I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I haven't played the Persona remake games yet. I haven't played Split Fiction. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played Elden Ring. Then you got Death Stranding. It's like when does it stop? When do all these titles stop? So Life is Strange probably got pushed to the side because of something else. And even The Alters, as much as I'm enjoying that game, I turn it off a little bit, go do something else. And then, bam, a new game drops. It's like, oh, do I purchase this one now and just put the others on pause? So it's this constant cycle.
Well, that's going on to...
James is the worst for that.
I was just going to say...
You are the worst for it.
I was just going to say, we'll get a game and we'll start playing it, and I'm thinking, this is fantastic, this. A new game comes around the corner and I go, should we go on that? Because what we do game share, so we go half each on what we're paying towards it. And we end up getting more than two games sometimes, don't we? Because it's only costing us half the price.
Definitely.
Game. So he'll be like he would be constantly on that game we just bought previous, and he'll complete that. Which I will go on to the newer game that we bought, and I'm always like 60% through, and I never complete a game, or I never played them. Like I've got Elden Ring. I bought Elden Ring because it was on offer. I still haven't played that yet. So, like you say, where does it stop? Because there's that many really good games coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, and 2023 was great. It was a great year for gaming. 2024, great year as well. Not as many AAA, but Stellar Blade, those kind of games. Black Myth Wukong, they kind of took up that space. And in 2025 as well, we've had Clear Obscure, we've had The Alters, we've had Monster Hunter, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Split Fiction, we have Avowed, Assassin's Creed Shadows. You can go on. There's something there for everyone. I've seen this new game now. I think it's called Sword Breakers. Like, you're gliding on a sword. That's doing really well as well. Things are going great. There's a lot. And I think what's also really important as well is to underscore the access argument, because when I was a kid, games were quite limited on how you could play them, but now you have these really good free-to-play games. You have these everlasting games that, it just gets updates and updates, whether that be a multiplayer game, whether that be Genshin Impact on your mobile phone. You got access to all these storefronts now that can give you games for cheaper. We got access to streaming. now as well. You got Game Pass where you could like subscribe and play Call of Duty just for $20. And if you shop around smart enough, you can get that, that Game Pass deal quite cheap. There's a lot more games to play and there's a lot more access to these games. So yeah, this is the real first world problem right here. Just having to decide, which game to play and, having so much money. Well, not so much money, but having games being so cheap that you could just get as many as you want these days.
Yeah, definitely. And Phil, I was just going to ask you as well. See, Phil's one of these where he completes the game and then goes back through it and gets the platinum for it. So how many platinums are you standing on right now?
As of this week, I think I'm on 114 now. I was on 112 last week. I've managed to get 2 more now, so working on them.
See, I could never do that. Like, I just can't.
Oh, I love it.
Man, I was playing The Witcher and The Witcher 2. And I got like a specific ending, which was good. And, someone, go back and do it this way. Then you can get the second ending. I tried it for like 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, this is boring. Like, this is same thing over and over again. And then I have to make these decisions that I wouldn't even make in the first place. It's like, no, he's an asshole, so I want to kill him. I'm not going to save him. So now I have to save him. That just goes against who I am. So I'm like, nah, I'm just going to YouTube the ending. That's just what it is. That's pretty much what I do.
This is kind of the problem with platinum in games, because you're playing it for the sake of getting all the trophies, so you can go, yeah, I completed that 100% or 110, 116 if you're playing Crash Bandicoot and Spyro 3, depending on what you're playing. But I mean, if you're playing it to platinum it, like, I still need to play The Witcher 3. I've been dying to play it for ages, but the idea of going for the platinum is daunting. But I'd play it just for the sake of it. But again, it's just, there's been that much stuff on my list that I've been avoiding it. But yeah, like the platinums, it's like there's a lot of stuff you end up doing that you wouldn't do. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail with, for example, the first South Park game, because some of the trophies you've got to do for that are just weird as sin. And when it comes to like, what was it recently I did? Hogwarts Legacy. So one of the trophies, obviously, you've got to use all the spells, and that being obviously your dark spells as well. And I'm like, I have a moral compass. I'm a good boy. I don't want to be killing people.
There you go.
Yeah, but I was like, I've got to do it. So, okay, this student needs to die.
Do you
Go on, mate.
Do you focus on like, for example, if someone gave you a chance, or if you found like there's like a glitch or something like that to get to do some of these tasks like faster or easier, would you do that, or would you just play it normally still?
Okay, so I have on one occasion, and it depends on the thing. So, yeah, I play the game throughout its entirety, complete it, and then go back through and do the platinums. There's a game called Blueprints where you've got to basically build this mansion. It's all around the blueprints of it, and each time you open a door, you go into a new room, and then you lay out the sections of the map to create this mansion. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, you run out of steps, you start a new day, start a new mansion. Well, one of the challenges, you've got to reach room 46, which is the premise of the game, up until you reach it, and then you realize you've just started it. And one of the things you've got to do is reach it within an hour. And I'm trying to think if it was that or whether it was another one where it was do it within so long. But in the end, I did end up using a bit of a glitch to make it happen, because it was just so impossible. It wasn't curse mode, because the game crashed at me on that one. So that's a platinum I'm still missing because of one trophy. Infuriating. But yeah, rarely I would use a glitch to get to it, because primarily I just love playing the games.
Yeah, same as me.
Enough.
I think I've done it in certain games, but if you remember, Saints Row 2 had all these mods in it to help you do all this, so without a glitch. And if you go back to Saints Row 2 now on the PlayStation 5, because you can actually play it through streaming, believe it or not, the mods still work. So that's incredible. And then you got Sparrow the Dragon. You had mods in there, and they worked. Which you could actually glitch your dragon to look like a piece of paper, something stupid like that. Or you could glitch him to have a big head. Weird stuff.
Do you guys miss cheats in video games?
Yes,
a little bit.
Because it made it more fun playing them, I think.
Yeah. The only game I can remember cheating a lot is The Sims. I'm always like, yeah, okay,
yes,
give me $1 million right now. Yeah, you can still do that. Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes it's fun to kind of start off, hard working, whatever. But at some point you're like, nah, I just want that $1 million right now. I want to build that swimming pool, that house, the cars, everything. So yeah, and The Sims is probably the only game I really probably use motherload a shitload of times, but sorry for person.
I've heard of that motherload because I used it before, and you can actually glitch it so you got like loads of money, and I mean loads of money, and you can just buy everything then, can't you?
Yeah, at that point, it's not really like a simulation. Now it's just like, do I want to be Hugh Hefner? Do I want to be like Jay-Z? Do I want to like live this, crazy lifestyle? So it changes the game completely. Maybe to some extent it makes it boring, to be honest. But listen, as long as you're having fun, you're having fun.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That's the interesting thing, is the fact that you can completely change the point of the game and the game's narrative based on that. I mean, for example, San Andreas, a game that my brother used to play, the main story. Me, I just used to play just for the sake of cheats, just flying around in a car. Just the idea of that just seemed amazing,
Yes.
And I just loved that game, just cheating in it constantly. That's all I ever did, was just pure cheat. And then just the best thing going is, you go to a friend's house and you're playing it and you're like, oh, mate, the best cheat going, and then you just give them the code for instant death. Had to happen.
Yeah. Do you know
Loved
what?
it.
Another game that was really good for cheats was, I don't know if any is a football fan here, but FIFA Street.
Had cheats?
Yeah, the FIFA Street that was on the PlayStation 2, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put cheats on it, so the ball was a lot faster. When you
That's crazy, because that game is already very like, those characters do some crazy skills. Like they do all this crazy stuff. It already feels like a cheat game, but yeah, and I never heard of the FIFA or the street games super specific having these kind of cheat codes.
You know what? It's so weird as well, because there was one cheat where you made your players really, really small, and I mean tiny. It was quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's games like that. I'll tell you what another game is, and that's a really good game. Fallout. Fallout has got loads of... It's not cheats, more of a mod. So you can put a mod on it where it looks better than what it is. They've also got a mod where you are in London and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
There's that many games with mods, cheats. I think they need to bring cheats out. Who remembers the PlayStation 2 days where you could get the cheat system, and it opened a full library of cheats for all types of games?
Yeah, I wonder, like, I'm trying to remember the developers, like, they obviously put in the game, obviously to give it probably more of a lifespan, to be honest with you. So, hey, you finished the game. Now you're bored. Now you're bored. Here's some mods to make life a little bit more interesting. But it seems like maybe mods, as you said, and, DLCs has kind of replaced the idea of cheating.
Yeah.
In games, especially if these games now have like a live service feature. I think the biggest problem that these developers are probably facing is they want you to keep playing their game for as long as possible to kind of make up for, like, if you're spending $70 on a game, it seems like their goal is to input as much things for you to do and boxes to tick off. If you have a cheat, and then you can just one-shot everybody, but then the game finishes, essentially.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably the biggest for like, oh, the game is finished, and now we can, like get rid of it or whatever, and we can move on to something else. But the goal of the Sims now is just to keep people playing the games for as long as possible. So mods will push that out, but cheats will probably destroy that and make everyone just like move on a lot faster.
Definitely, and we've talked about cheats and mods replacing cheats, but now there's talks about the new PlayStation having some type of AI system in it. Me and Phil spoken in the previous episode a little bit about this, but we didn't speak too much about it. So basically, what it's going to do is, if you're away from the game, it will control the game for you and play it for you, which is quite creepy when you think of it, because AI is quite creepy sometimes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But I think the PlayStation, I'm actually like I'm not a big advocate, but I like the idea of options and accessibility. So while I think it kind of, not devalue, that's the wrong word. Okay, I guess I'll put it this way. I wouldn't use these things. I have no interest whatsoever in having some computer or AI play the game for me. However, I think there are situations where people get stuck. They need help. I had a friend once, and he was playing The Witcher 3, and he got really stuck at a boss. And he did the PlayStation share thing. I don't know what it's called, but like I was able to control his controller from my house, and I beat the boss for him. And once I did that, I was gone. He was like, "Thanks." Later, and then he just played the rest of the game. So I think if like we didn't have an issue with that, so would it be a problem if AI can help you? And now we're even seeing situations where it's not even just AI. You have developed, like, I think Kojima literally took out for Death Stranding 2, he took out the boss option. So, hey, you don't want to play a boss? You think it's too hard? Just press this button right here and you just get the cutscene. So we're already seeing these kind of things happen. And AI is just probably the next step in making it easier for people. But no, I would not be using this. What I will, could I ever use it in a situation, like, to some extent, we're using it a little bit. So for example, when you're playing, to a small extent, right? When you're playing a game in an open world and you get lost and you press up on that D-pad and then some arrow guides you towards, like, this is where you go. Or when you press, hold down X or A or, whatever, console you're playing, and your horse starts to follow the direction that you want it to go in. So it goes directly to Novigrad. That is basically AI as well, right? When you're playing games and you have your comrades following you around, maybe in Gears of War, in Call of Duty, and they're moving by their own accord. And that's not you telling them, go here, do this, do that. They're just smart enough to do it. That is AI as well. So I just think it's a natural progression. A bit a strange one, as you said, because it's actually controlling your character as opposed to helping. But yeah, I'm interested to see how AI is implemented into the next generation of game consoles, especially when I consider the fact that it should in theory make gaming development a lot cheaper, which means, and it should allow like people like us even to start to maybe dabble into making games ourselves. And that doesn't mean the games will be great, but it does mean that you're going to get more options, more opportunity, more accessibility. Because I remember, like, I was a kid, I was like, how do you make games? And now there's this thing called Unreal Engine that you can just download on your PC and boom, you can start right now. Like, it's that simple. Like, obviously it's complicated, it's harder. You have to put in work and effort. But the fact that, like, you could put up Unreal Engine right now, and in 4 years' time, you have a game good to go. That's crazy to me. You by yourself, so I love technology being involved in games, and I love the improvements, and I'm always looking forward to seeing what next we do with it.
You know what, you're talking about making your own games, and then you've got Epic Games, and they allow you to do it through Unreal Engine. I've tried to go on Unreal Engine before just to see what it's like, but let's just say your CPU goes very high on that engine. So make sure you have a really good CPU, or otherwise it's going to overheat. There is another app on there called Qubit, is it? Or something like that. And that allows you to create a game, free to play, like a platformer game, or a little. I think you can do a little bit more to that, and then once you've finished it, you can publish it straight to what console you want, and people can start playing it straight away, which I think is absolutely amazing. Because how would you do it? I've always wanted to make my own game, but I just know I can't. So, but it would be nice, very nice.
What's the name of that app?
I think it's is it Qbert or something? I'm not sure. It's on Epic Games, I think. It's got like a. Have you found it?
Qubit, yeah,
Qubit.
Qubit.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, cool. I'll look into it.
Yeah, that's another free one where you can just make your own games and then just transfer it straight to PlayStation or Xbox or PC, whatever platform you want it to go on.
Cool. Thanks for that. I'll look into that. But the thing about this, like, you need what's the word I'm looking for? You need passion and drive.
Yeah.
You know, I know a guy who, you know, he was like, I'm gonna make my own game. He had all these ideas down, and I was telling him, like, bro, like, you feel this way now, but in 3 days' time, you ain't gonna feel this way, and you're just gonna give up. So don't even bother. Like, don't even waste your time. So if you don't have the drive or passion, it's probably just not gonna work out. It's something you got to be dedicated to for like years. But I will say, even if you do end up like failing or collapsing, you get some good skills. You know, you learn a bit of programming. You know, you kind of flex your artistic muscles a little bit, and you're being active in something that is self-improvement. So, you know, you can't really knock it too much.
No, you can't. And you know what? We've had a few little developers on the show. Probably the biggest one was from Ubisoft. He was behind the games like The Crew, Rainbow Six Siege, Tom Clancy's The Division, and it was Driver San Francisco as well. And he was behind the idea, you know, when you were on The Crew and the... Hello there, have you heard about our partners, Tairebo? Tairebo is an internet radio station for gamers, so every time our episodes release, they will automatically go onto their website. So it's a fantastic little partnership, and we hope for more to come in the future. So yeah, that is our partnership, guys, and yeah, let's get back to the episode. The light bar on the PS4 controller lit up from red to blue. When you were in a police chase, he came up with that idea, and I just thought that was genius. And we've never forgotten about that, have we? We've never forgotten.
I know it's funny because I actually mentioned that to him. I was like, "Oh, do you know what I loved about The Crew was literally as soon as you get into a police chase, just the light bar on the back just starts flashing red and white, and he was red and blue, and he was like, that was actually my idea." I was like, really? He went, yeah. I was like, that's crazy. He said, unfortunately, it was implemented first in Grand Theft Auto while we were still in production for The Crew. And I was like, that's sad. I mean, the idea that, you know, you're putting, yeah, but the idea, like, you know, you're putting in all this effort into a game and then someone could literally beat you to the punch.
I know, just
That happens quite a good bit, I think.
Yeah.
I know, wasn't Splinter Cell. There was a developer who was they were looking to make a spy interactive, you know, game, and unfortunately for them, Metal Gear Solid came out a few years before their game, and I think he said something like, their game we were trying to do what they were trying to do, but theirs was superior in every single way, shape, or form. So it got to the point where I was like, if we release this, it's going to be garbage compared to this masterpiece. I know there's also situations where, I'm trying to remember the game now. Mass Effect Andromeda is one game that they were looking to make procedural generated planets and, you know, do the whole land and all that kind of stuff. But No Man's Sky came out before them, and when it came out, it was like, oh damn, like we were doing that, you know. So some of these decisions, yeah, like I think the thing here that's important is, well, the thing here to know is that like everyone has ideas, and your idea necessarily isn't like a new idea. It's there. It's just the question is, you know, who's gonna release it first? Is someone gonna do it with a, you know, smaller title or not? Like Club Obscure, for example, the whole active turn-based system. Obviously, they didn't invent it. It's been around for some time. But you'd be surprised how many, like, I believe 2D games have a very similar system, and they were able to obviously push theirs out before Club Obscura because they're like a 2D smaller game, right? But the difference is Club Obscura blew up, so they will get credit for that idea. In the same way, if I'm not mistaken, Titanfall was the first kind of action adventure game and shooting game to have the whole wall running situation happen. But because it came out exclusive on the Xbox, Call of Duty came out later and they had that system, and they're more credited to having that system than Titanfall, because Titanfall was a less popular title. So yeah, it definitely does happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's many stories of people having great ideas and in the process of making it, and then boom, another game comes out and takes their shine.
And do you know what? I actually remember that when the first Titanfall came out, and obviously it was roughly around the time COD came out, and the fact that they had that idea, but then someone already had that idea, that must have been a bit hard for them, because where do you go from them? I mean, obviously they brought it out, but it's one of them, isn't it? I think they brought it out a little bit later in the end, but I remember... So go on. I was just going to...
No, go ahead.
I remember when Titanfall 2 came out, and then it became a PlayStation game as well, which, when it came to PlayStation, me and him were like, do you know what? We've got to get this. So we constantly spent hours and hours on that game because, like you say, the wall jumping was just fantastic, and we used to use it a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
But something here is also the accessibility. That really plays a big role, right? Similar to like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because, like, think of Sea of Thieves, for example, right? That's an example of a game that, it's pirate focus, boats, Sea of Thieves, that kind of stuff. And it's exclusive to Xbox and PC. It doesn't matter if you have the idea first. If Nintendo players and PlayStation players can't access it, then it's irrelevant. They don't care. So then when somebody comes out and takes that idea and puts it on the PlayStation, well, then that's a problem for you, because now they're going to get that credit of being that game, that niche that you thought you had. That's why obviously this breakdown of boundaries of exclusive titles it's actually a good thing. Even thinking about, I'll give an example, Horizon, the multiplayer game that's been rumored, and you see Tencent is making their own version. And I'm thinking straight away that, like, Horizon is actually a really good game from an MMO perspective. And if Sony makes that exclusive to the PlayStation, well, Tencent's having a W right there, because they're going to just make the same game, except they're going to put it on PC, Switch, and Xbox. And that's market share that you're just going to lose right there, all because you chose to keep that game as an exclusive. And as far as the casual audience is concerned, well, they don't really care if Sony did it first or not. I can't purchase it, so it's completely irrelevant. Whatever I can purchase first and whatever I see first, they get the credit, and that's it.
You know what that happened to, like you say, Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is now on the PlayStation, so it's no longer Xbox exclusives. Crash Bandicoot is no longer a PlayStation game, which I think was sad. Hopefully they do bring the games still to the console, and no, Xbox have partnership up with Aravision, is it? But it's just a shame. That was PlayStation, and obviously someone's took that off them now. But also, what other game was the same? You were saying Horizon. Fantastic game on the Xbox. I used to play it with my brother because it was on Game Pass. But then it's coming out to the PlayStation now, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed.
So games are slowly no longer being exclusives anymore, which...
Yeah, it seems like what's been happening here is that the market has grown. So it seems like there was this expectation that the console market was going to keep growing and growing and growing, and that has now repeated off. So everybody knows who the players are. They know who the PlayStation guys are, the Xbox guys and the Nintendo guys are. And exclusives don't seem to matter as much simply because it's going to be hard to get somebody to buy your console. That's not to say they're not important. They're a factor, but they're not the only factor here. And if you want to take console market share from your rival, well, you need them to botch up. You need them to really mess up. Number one, and you need your games to be exceedingly be special. And you need to do that for probably like 2 generations to take a significant enough market share. The problem there is you're still fighting for the same pie. But, you know, and at that point, it's just too risky for everyone. So let's just, let's just expand towards PC. Let's expand towards the Nintendo Switch. Let's start putting our games in different places so we can now start making more money. Because the goal is never to beat somebody in some kind of console war. The goal is to make as much money as possible. And when Xbox was trying to buy Activision Blizzard, I could see a very clear situation where the shareholders of Microsoft are looking at this saying, wait, why is Activision Blizzard costing $70 billion? Like what did they do to get that valuation? And the answer is the games are everywhere. They don't put the games only on one platform. And then in Microsoft's mind, it's like, well, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just do that and make way more money? And that's why you see, Xbox doing that now a lot more. But even Sony as well, you've seen them putting Helldivers 2 on Xbox, and you're going to see like you're going to see way more titles there, because there's no real game that PlayStation can drop on Xbox that's going to really cause some kind of significant market share. Now it's all about making money. It's all about getting those profit margins up. It's also why you see the consoles prices kind of going up, and you see that these manufacturers now, they're not willing to take a hit on these consoles. Like back in the days when PlayStation 1 came out, Sony was willing to take hundreds of a hit just to get those devices out there. Now they're not. Like the next PlayStation is probably going to be sold at cost. So a break-even point or even a profit margin. And Nintendo realized this very early on after the GameCube. They said, we're not going to sell consoles at a loss anymore. Like this is a dumb strategy. So, consoles ain't as important. Sorry, not consoles. Exclusives ain't as important anymore. The market is very mature now. Sony knows the kind of player you are. So does Nintendo. They know how to get you to buy their games. And they also know that there's a lot of gamers out there who aren't willing to shift to a different platform or a different console. And if those players ain't willing to shift, then you have to just go to where they are. Especially, as they say, Gen Z or the younger generations, they're more interested in just the games. The game is the platform itself, not the device. The device is completely irrelevant to them. They will happily play Roblox on any device, but Roblox is the platform. Assassin's Creed Shadows is like the game that they want to play. So where that is, like, they'll go to, where Assassin's Creed Shadows is, they won't necessarily go to it because for them, it's, but if you're not on my device, it doesn't make sense to me. I consume Netflix on my laptop, my PC, my mobile phone, my console. Netflix is not exclusive to a device. So why are these games exclusive? That just doesn't make sense to them. And when you think about it, from a deconstruction point of view, it does make sense. Why are these games closed off behind these devices? It's just, it's a very kind of archaic way of doing things. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds.
I mean, looking into the past of it, you can understand the fear of, okay, well, we have this game is ours. If we then send it out to another platform, is that going to potentially make other players go there because they can get the games that Xbox have and our games as well, and then Xbox being the same way? But over the years, I do think you are right that it has got to a point now where people are just like, well, I am a PlayStation gamer. That's who I am, you know what I mean? I'm not an Xbox gamer, I'm not a PC gamer, I play on the PlayStation. So you do get people who are, solely like linked to one brand. And I do think if they do just release all games to all systems kind of thing, whether, it's able to run it, I do think they won't lose gamers from one console to another. I do think it is quite clever at the minute where they are releasing it like maybe a year or two later. So then it's like, well, if you do really want to be the first person to play it, because a lot of people's like, the day that it comes out, I have to play it. I need to be the one playing it right there and then. So then if they do really want that, they are the kind of people who would be willing to go, yeah, I'm going to go spend another £700 on a PlayStation. I'm going to go spend another $650 on an Xbox, whatever. So I don't think it really would make too much of a difference anymore. Maybe years ago, probably, but not so much now. But it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
do you know what as well though? You have to remember as well. Most games now are cross-play as well, so that in itself, if you can play your friends on the same game on a different console, there's no point switching to another console, is there? There's just not, because you can play that game anyway. So like it used to be where everyone was like, "Oh, I can't go on that game because it's not crossplay or it's not on this console." But now crossplay has been a big thing, and when the crossplay did originally get announced and all that, Sony were really, really tough on it and said, "We're not having crossplay in games on our console." And then Fortnite made an update, and that was our first game of crossplay. So it is annoying, but I get the fact that they're bringing it to all consoles now. The biggest game that Sony has been holding off not to go on Xbox is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is one game that I think, just because of the contractual situation with Disney, I can see that game at some point moving over. But regardless, I think Sony's in a different situation than Xbox, because Xbox is in third place, so they have to act faster. Whatever Sony does, Xbox has to do probably 3 times more, right? That's why I think they decided going like to put their games on PC first. That's why they started putting their games on different platforms first. But you started to see Sony do it as well, slowly, with Horizon, Lego, on the Nintendo Switch. And then you started to see, well, now you're seeing Helldivers, you see MLB The Show. That's a little bit different, but even if they didn't want to put MLB The Show, and that was MLB telling them to do it, and even if Death Stranding, they didn't want to put it on Xbox, and that was Kojima forcing their hand, they still get valuable data on all this. Yeah. They get to see the effects of these games on the Xbox platform. And at some point, and they're also seeing the effects of their games on PC on the PlayStation platform. So the more data they have, the harder it becomes to justify keeping the same approach. Because at the end of the day, there is going to be some spreadsheet where you got to tell someone who's your boss that the reason why we shouldn't do this is because it's going to be beneficial to the platform. And they're going to say, well, show me the workings, show me your analysis, the accounting figures that says this is beneficial. And then when somebody else is going to come through and say, well, if we put it on this platform, we actually make more money overall. And then that's when you start to lose. So I think just by the nature of even Helldivers 2 reportedly doing well on Xbox, so you're going to see more games. And the rumor has it that maybe Returnal is going to come over next, and they're going to start with these small titles. And from the big games, I think you're going to see Spider-Man at some point, because I think Disney's going to kind of, push them a little bit, saying, hey, like Spider-Man is a big franchise, bigger than PlayStation, screw PlayStation. We need to put this titles on every other platform. So I think, yeah, you might see that.
And do you know what? I think I've seen a rumor that Spider-Man may be coming to Xbox eventually. I mean, it's already on PC, Spider-Man now, so they've put it on a different platform. So I can actually see it coming to Xbox soon, because a lot of people on Xbox I've heard of they've said, I've always wanted to play the Spider-Man games, but I don't want to get that console to play it. I've always wished it to come onto Xbox. Well, eventually that probably will happen.
Yeah, by default, it's probably going to be on Xbox, but it's going to be on Xbox via Steam, right? So the rumor is that the next console is a hybrid console. You don't agree?
Yes, I've heard of that. That Steam's going to be on Xbox. I reckon Steam should be on all consoles, because I think it'll open it more. It'll help. Well, it's definitely going to help Xbox, because Xbox is going to have one of these devices now that's going to play every single game that you have. So, and don't forget, consoles are becoming like a PC now, like a mini PC. The stuff that they put in it, like the CPUs and the graphic cards. I mean, just look at the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, for example. How powerful are they for a console? They're quite powerful, aren't they? They're really, really powerful. So, I can see Steam being a good choice for Xbox. I really do, because I just think that it'll benefit Xbox and Microsoft for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nuances there as to the pros and cons, why it's happening. Because a lot of people say like, "Yo, how do you make money if Steam's on your platform? Going to take your consumers?" But one, I don't think they're going to really necessarily take all the consumers, because there's the tyranny of default, right? Where you just put on the box and whatever is there, you just use it. And so that's one. Two, I think Microsoft or Xbox is looking to really improve their OS. So I think that's going to be able to keep players in. I think Game Pass is going to be a huge factor in keeping players within that ecosystem. And you're going to just give crazy deals out there. But I think the way to look at this is Xbox is coming from a losing console position where, if I put this to you this way, if the Xbox Series X2, the sequel to the ones we have right now, if they came out, would they sell more or less than the Xbox Series X and S? And my answer would be it will sell way less, because now people know that all the Xbox games are on PlayStation and on all platforms. So I think you're gonna lose those users who are buying it for exclusives. Now you're gonna retain the guys who are who love the ecosystem, who has all their back catalog for sure. But there's gonna be a lot of people like me who's gonna say, well, I mean, consoles are expensive, bro. I can't be buying multiple ones out there. So people like me are going to move to the PlayStation 6 instead, because that's going to have everything, right? But if you're Xbox and you tell me like, no, we're going to put Steam on our ecosystem and GOG and Epic, so you can shop around now and you can get access to PlayStation games via Steam. Well, now I'm going to buy a console, because now I think your console has a very good value proposition for me. So yeah, because I'm getting Game Pass and I'm getting these Steam God of War, Spider-Man games. And the question for Sony then is, well, if the Xbox players can access these games via Steam and they're giving Steam that cut, well, why not just put on Xbox anyway if they can get it? Yeah. Why would you prefer me to buy it on Steam Steam gives you that 30, you have to give 30% to Steam, whereas apparently with Xbox's the Xbox PC's revenue share, it's 88-22. So now you're actually making more money. So just sell it to me directly. You make more money, boom, you're happy. You sell it to me via Steam, it's less money.
Yeah, it is, because like you say, it's coming from another platform. So it'd just be ideal for Sony to say, look, right, all our games are coming to Xbox, and they'll earn more. Like you say, they'll get more money because the game's getting bought over again, but on a different platform, and they'll make more money that way. But Sony have always been, let's just say, stumbled when it comes to letting other companies use their games or their software, and even the customer service is not that great, is it, Phil? Let's just say.
No comments.
But we had a bit of issues though, because we obviously setting game share on the PS5 was a little bit more difficult than the PS4. But then we rang them up, didn't we? And it was just terrible, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it was awkward as hell. I mean, when it comes to Steam coming to Xbox, I do think it is a genius idea. I don't know whether I can say they'll make more money. I mean, Xbox will definitely end up getting a lot more users. But obviously, I do think people will buy more games through Steam rather than through the Xbox. They'll still buy games through the Xbox as well. But like, not yesterday. Sorry, last week I was looking at buying a game for the console that's in the living room for my nephews because I've got Descenders on my PS5, and both of them want to play on it at the same time. So the other one wants to play on the other PS5, which is linked to a different account. So I went on to CD Keys to get, a voucher to put onto the account, and I found the game itself, and it was, I think it was only about £4 for it on Steam, and it was £20 for it on the PlayStation. So I mean, if you've got an Xbox and you've got access to Steam, are you going to be paying £20 for a game on the Xbox, or are you just going to pay £4 for the game on Steam? Or the question is the price of Steam games going to then inherently increase as well?
Well,
yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think what they'll do is they have to adjust. they can't have Steam, everything being that cheap. They have all these tricks, and I think one of the things that's important that I think that people kind of overlook is the fact that when we talk about Xbox growth, that's not really necessarily with the consoles. I mean, it's not with the consoles at all. It's with the PC storefront and their cloud storefront and Game Pass. Like, these are the three pillars right now. And so it's easy to and right now their app sucks. It's not that good. It's not that great. But the fact that they're still bringing in new users, I believe Phil Spencer said it some time ago that, into some regions where we have way more people within our ecosystem via cloud and PC than we actually do with the consoles. And we were never going to get those users. So if they keep improving their OS offerings and, increase the value of Game Pass and all these other avenues, I think they'll mitigate the damage that they will get from, having users, as you said, buying it on Steam. But you're right. Listen, when I get that device and Steam is telling me $20 for this game and Xbox is like 45, I'm like, 45? I ain't paying 45. I'm going to the cheapest place for sure. So yeah, I completely agree with you.
Do you know what? I totally agree as well. And the fact is, Steam, when it comes to Steam and the games have always been like £10 cheaper or something like that. I remember when Hogwarts Legacy came out on the consoles, it was about, I think it was almost £80. Between £70 and £80, and on Steam you got for £50, I think it was. So that is a good thing about Steam. The only thing is,
I remember that specific example. Yeah, I remember because my friend bought it on PC and he told me how much he got it for, and I was like, "What? Why? Like, what's the difference?" And I just put down to like PC gamers are very, very I think that they're a lot more harder to please and they're more rebellious. Yeah. And if you charge them, they'll literally turn around and be like, okay, I'm going to pirate your game now because I hate you for it. Like, they're a lot more, you got to be a lot more careful with them, I think. That's probably why. Whereas console gamers, they're probably easier to, I don't know, to take the piss out of, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, let's be honest as well, it's a lot easier. Not that I'm recommending it because I'm not, but it's a lot easier to pirate games on a PC than it is on a console now. I mean, years ago, very different, but nowadays, yeah, a bit more of a struggle.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah, for sure. Like the PC guys I know, like they like I remember I was talking to one guy.
Yeah.
And this was before Tears of the Kingdom came out. And he was like, "Yeah, it's an okay game." And I was like, "Something out here, mate. Like, you can't say that." And he was like, "No, I've played it." And I was like, "No, you haven't." And he's like, "Yes, on PC, ... And I was like, "Oh, damn." Like, really? Like, before it launches, you already play. And he's like, "Do you want a link?" I was like, "No, I don't want a freaking link." Like, yeah, PC gamers are different. You can't take the piss out of them. They'll ruin you for sure.
Yeah, they definitely would. You know what? What I found really good about PC gaming as well, like, say a game is kept to 60 FPS at 4K, but you can't change the shadows or anything on consoles. When it comes to PC with that game, you can like scale it to the max, and it's like, wow, it's right in your eyes, and you think to yourself, this is actually a lot better in console, because you can upgrade the graphics without any charge. It's literally in the settings of the game on PC, which I absolutely love. For example, Red Dead Dimension 2, on console it's kept at a certain thing. You can't even change the graphics much on it. Comes to PC, you could just like make it look crystal clear, can't you, basically? And that's what PC's better in that sense. But because console has been a lot cheaper, people have been buying consoles. But now that consoles are slowly becoming like a gaming PC, eventually you're going to see a console that's going to cost over £1,000. I can see it one day. I can see it. Well, yeah.
No, it will. Yeah. No, but I think what we're going to see, that is my speculation, is that we're going to see all these different devices. We already know we're seeing it with Xbox, right? They're including OEMs into their lineup. So you're going to see a console from Asus. You're going to see one from Lenovo, and they're going to be running the Xbox OS, the newer OS. And then you're also going to see them run the Steam OS as well, because it's just going to be a straight port. And because of that, you're going to see different variations of consoles. So you're going to see their version of a Series S. We already know that PlayStation is working on the PlayStation Portable for the PlayStation 6. And that's going to be a lower tier device. So this is already happening. I imagine we're going to see high-end consoles, and we'll see lower-end consoles, and they'll be sold at cost. So they'll make a profit. It's not like a loss-making system. But yeah, I agree with you. We're going to see consoles worth like in the 1,000 region, 900, etc., etc. But I do think we'll still see cheap enough consoles, because there's going to be those individuals who, they're not going to spend 1,000 on a console. Like, I know, just even from firsthand, my own subjective experience, that there were people who were refusing outright to buy an Xbox or a PS5 for $500. They was like, that's not gonna happen. But I was like, there's this thing called a Series S. It's cheaper. It's next gen. You can get your games, your FIFAs, your NFL, Madden, whatever, NBA 2K, and boom, they bought it. They were like, yeah, perfect. This is exactly what I need. So I think you're gonna see a budget-sized console at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I heard rumors about when the PS6 comes out, that the handheld console that they're bringing out is going to be alongside it. Now, I don't know whether they're going to be doing that as a bundle, which obviously would cost a little bit more, but then you got the best of both worlds then. But I've also heard rumours that the handheld console is going to have AMD on it, which if you've heard of AMD, it is powerful. Would it work? How would it work on a? It'll be a very tiny chip on a handheld console, wouldn't it?
You asking me, or are you asking?
Asking anyone that wants to answer. Yeah.
Oh, well, my impression was it was going to be just a PS5, basically, just in handheld form. If you look at the consoles, like the PC consoles are right now, the ROG Ally X, you can get pretty good performances of these devices. So I think what Sony's going to do here is they're just going to make I guess you could call it a Series S model, except in handheld form, for their next gen devices. And because they'll do that, they'll be able to, target the handheld space. The developers will have to make multiple SKUs, so they'll make a PS handheld 6 version, and they'll make a PS 6 console version. Could it cause problems in terms of development? Not really. I think if you optimize it well enough, you'll be able to sort it out. Especially when you look at this gen, like you look at how many cross-gen games we have with the PS5 and the PS4. Hogwarts Legacy was an exclusive to the PS5, as well as the next-gen consoles for a little bit. But did that game really have to be exclusive? Like, I don't really see anything that's crazy tasking in that game. You just got to optimize it a lot well, change a few things here and there, and boom. They even saw a Switch port, right? So there you go. And then, we even with the Switch 2, we're seeing Cyberpunk 2077 come out on there. And listen, it's impressive. Like I didn't expect Nintendo to be able to pull that kind of off. I'm not saying it's an amazing game, but it's even more impressive when you consider the fact that like that's the first port. Like what happens 4 years in? You know, how does that game look? So you know, I think just the same way we had a lot of cross-gen games this year, and like we're in 2025 and we're still getting some cross-gen games, right? For the PS6 and the Xbox Series X2, I think we're going to get cross-gen games as well. I think that by its nature is going to help the Switch 2, and it's going to help the PS6 handheld and any other device that's in between. Microsoft is already dispelling of this idea of console generations because it doesn't really exist anymore. Like the PC's never really had a console generation like that. And I think the console one is starting to get eradicated when we see less and less graphical jumps happening. Metaphor played it, loved it on the Series X, and I'm thinking to myself like, what did that game do that the PS4 couldn't do? Like what, like you know, or the Xbox One? Like the game it's not tasking, it's not anything special. And now we're seeing rumors that the Starfield is coming out on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. So like, listen, you optimize, you can probably get a lot done. So yeah, I agree with you. The handhelds will be fine. They'll be weaker, but if you're playing, you know, a game on a handheld, like you shouldn't really be expecting console or PC like experiences in the first place. Like, you know, and you don't really need to because I think the handheld, the fact that the screen is small, it's portable. These are the form factors in it. So you know, it's all good.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what they said that it's going to be compatible with PS5 games. So that in itself, in a handheld console, and you know the PS5 games are really powerful as they are now. But to have that in it, a handheld console, it will be a really good handheld console, I think. Definitely.
So, I mean, even if they reduce the quality of the PS5 game itself so that it lowers both the size and the capabilities needed to run it on a handheld, I think you wouldn't even notice the difference based on the size of the screen itself, because obviously you're not running it through a 50-inch telly. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessary. And on top of that as well, you've got to remember that components now are constantly forever getting smaller. Like, you look at when they first released the PS5, and then you look at, was it 2 years after when they released the Pro? 2-3 years, something like that.
3 years.
And the size was about half as small and weighed a fraction of what the PS5 weighed.
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong about the years, but the size and weight is definitely smaller.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? It's when you think of it, isn't it? It's just weird. And you look at the Nintendo Switch 2 now, and that's slightly bigger than the original Nintendo. But also they've managed to fix the issue with the Joy-Cons. So hopefully there's no stiff drift or anything like that. But how bad was stiff drift on the Nintendo Switch? It was pretty poor.
Do you know what? Nintendo Switch is the easiest console to fix stick drift. I'm sorry, but like, I've fixed stick drift on PS4s, PS5s, Xboxes, and Joy-Cons, and the Joy-Cons were the easiest by far. Just literally everything else is soldered in. You've got to do a lot of work to unsolder it, disconnect it, and reconnect it. The Switch ones, it's literally a ribbon cable. Obviously, I don't know about Switch 2 yet, but how easy it was to replace them. And people said that they were constantly getting stick drift with it. I think I got stick drift on mine once, and I've had it more on the PlayStation. Granted, I've played that more, so I don't really know, but...
Yeah, and do you know what? The fact that they've managed to fix this issue, which is absolutely brilliant. Right, we're going to end the show with what do you all think that let's just say console wars are finished now, or do you think there's still console wars right out there? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I think there's always going to be rivalry between them. Do I think it is what it was 10 years ago? No, probably not. But I do think there will always be that, oh, are we better than you? Are you better than us? Kind of thing. Yeah. But I do think it's a bit more jokey now than it used to be. But there will always be that there, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
What do you think, Ty? What do you think about console wars? Now that we've got games coming to each console now, do you think console wars is slowly dying, or do you think there's going to be something still there to?
It's dead.
It's dead. Yeah.
Completely gone. It's completely gone. I think there's always going to be competition from a point of view from time.
Yeah.
But I think even now the console makers realize that time develops YouTube, develops, TikTok and all these other players. Because if I'm not playing a game, it's because I'm on YouTube watching podcasts like this, right? I'm doing things, and YouTube is very easy for me to say, well, I can go on a walk, on a run, or go to the gym while doing YouTube or Spotify. Can't do that while playing a game. So now the competition is a lot more intense. And if you're solely focused on your closest proximity rival, you're missing the other guys who are creeping up on you, right? And I think to the console fanboys, when your king, Xbox, says, yeah, we ain't at war no more, and you're there on the street protesting, war, but they're like, yeah, but bro, like we've surrendered, we've given them land, we've given them money, we've given them everything. In fact, their king came over, we shook hands, we have like, there's a marriage going on right now. We're giving them games, they're giving us games. Like, what war are you talking about, bro? Like you fight a ghost. It doesn't exist anymore. And Nintendo, years ago, when the Wii dropped, they were like, yeah, we're done. Like, we're not, okay, Xbox, PlayStation, yeah, you guys do your thing. We're going to drop the Wii. We drop the Wii U, the Switch. Like, we're in our own lane. And I think Xbox now has said, you know what? We're going our own lane too. Yeah. We want these games to be everywhere, including PlayStation. We want to focus on cloud. We want to focus on PC. We want to focus on being a platform. And we want this, and where we can't be a platform, we want to put our games on those platforms. So it's dead. It's finished. It's long gone. If you want to be very technical about it, you can say Nintendo won, because they're the only ones who haven't put their games on anyone else's platform. So Nintendo's the winner. They're the undisputed champion after years and years of console back and forth with Sega, Nintendo, Xbox. Nintendo is the ultimate champion. But now we can all just make more money from each other. And that's the end goal, because our shareholders don't care about no imaginary console wars. They care about profit margins. And as far as they're concerned, Helldivers 2 going on Xbox, it was good for Helldivers, and it brings more money in. MLB being on multiple platforms brings more money in, and you can't argue with the euro. That's just what it is.
Definitely. You're talking about Nintendo of one in that sense. Didn't Sonic come to the PlayStation and Xbox?
Yeah. Sega as well too. They bowed out. If you want to look at Sega's financials, I mean, they're making a lot of money these days. They're doing well as a third party publisher, and I think this is where everyone is seeing that. Hey, if you just put your games everywhere, like what are the biggest games? It's all primarily third party games. Not third party games, but games that are on every platform. Yeah. The Minecraft, the GTAs, the Fortnite. Every single time you look at the most played games in Europe and most play games in the United States, it's always these games that are on every platform. Gatekeeping your games behind some arbitrary, imaginary console war line that is a figment of someone's imagination, which at the time made sense to sell the consoles. But as soon as you find out that these consoles can't reach any further, like this is the cap on those devices, and these are the user base, and it's not going to grow anymore, well, then now it's done. Now it's okay. We're finished now. We know exactly, how many users we have in this industry. How about those PC guys now? How about those mobile phone guys now? How about those guys on the PlayStation side of things, on the Nintendo side of things? And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. You know what? Brilliant point there. You know what? It's been fantastic talking to you, Ty. Honestly, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing chat, hasn't it, Phil?
Absolutely. I honestly feel like I've been educated just
I've been
talking along with this. Amazing.
3 times tonight because there's some things there, like we've had quite a few guests on the show, and there's always a different point. There's a different way around it, and that's what we love about having a guest on the show, because you hear it different from everyone, and hearing your point about it, and we've definitely been educated, by the way, because the way you put it, it was like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure. Had a great conversation.
Not a problem, mate. You take care. And Phil, you take care as well, mate. Thank you for being a brilliant co-host, like always. And thank you, Terry, for being a fantastic guest. And you definitely educated us too. Us too. Definitely. But thank you for coming on, mate, and we'll hopefully catch you again soon. Look after yourself. Take care.